I really appreciate everyone coming, and I want to thank Kathleen for coming in from California, and thank everyone for helping set this up and put it together, and I appreciate that very much from my heart. And I want to thank my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Very helpful.
Name tags. And my wife, but she's in the kitchen, like she likes to be in the kitchen. So. Cooking. Yeah. I just would like everyone to know the average age of a girl who's being trafficked or abducted is the age of my daughters. I mean, as young as 10, 11, 12. And I guess the reason why it's such a heaviness on my heart and my wife's heart is because we do have all girls. And so when you hear of the horrific, just the evil that surrounds us, you start to open your eyes to the realness of it, because it's not something that's way over there, a 16-hour plane ride away. It's something that's actually happening in our own neighborhoods. So I'm going to pass the time over to Kathleen. And
Okay, so that's the innocence, right? Yeah. Truly, that we want to save, because interestingly enough, most of the girls that are trafficked never had somebody that they could run and say daddy to, and if they did and are stolen from that, they have a daddy that's really, really sick and worried about them. And so I want to show you a video that will kind of bring this awareness. Here's the challenge with this issue. And our foundation is called Pure Hope Foundation. And the pure part is really important to us because we want to raise awareness and mobilize action. Because it's hard, and I'll share my story with you after the video of why I'm doing this with my life. But the pure part is important to me because we need to break people's hearts and have them know that this exists, so that's why we want to raise awareness. But we want to do it without victimizing your own minds. And that's a fine line, to have you understand the reality of what this is, but keep it pure enough to where you're not re-victimized by hearing about it. Because it's important to know this issue exists, because it's real. It's not TV. This isn't CSI or any of those shows. This is very real. Indifference is not an option. And so I just want to show this video. Chad and Marietta felt like that this was appropriate and needed. I don't believe it will victimize your mind, but I think it will raise your awareness. And I hope that, in a sense, it will break your heart. So I'm just going to play this short video, and then I'll share with you my story. Let's see if AV works here.
Survive.
So this 8 days film, we've met the producer and they're actually in Dallas doing a huge fundraiser for us as well. It's hard to even grasp, and I know you guys saw the top 20 cities and Denver wasn't on there. Weren't you all watching? You know you were. You go, I don't want my city to be on there. But you know, it's happening here. There are rescue missions that are already here rescuing girls. It's happening here. And I don't know if you saw the statistic that most of this is not reported. We don't even realize that it's happening right under our noses. And I have heard stories of girls that were just on the internet and they made friends with somebody that made them feel special. And then they said, hey, meet for coffee, don't tell your parents. You know, parents, how they are. They won't let you come because they're so stupid. And then the girl is gone. To parents selling their own children. To girls running away because some man that they should have been able to trust violated their innocence, and so they ran away. And then another man said, hey, let me help you. And instead, he took her captive and violates her innocence every day and gets paid for it. See, this is something that is so important. How the heck did I get involved? I live in Southern California. I was going along, any of you minding your own business today, right? And now you're here? That was me. And I was actually flying on a business trip. I had upgraded to first class, and I was flying, and I had a faith-based book on my lap, and this guy came in and sat down next to me, and he said when he saw that faith-based book in my lap, he knew he wanted to talk to me. And I have to be honest with you, I wasn't in the mood to talk. Any of you like that after a business trip? And that's why I upgrade to first classes so I won't have to talk, because no one in there usually talks. But he kept persisting, tapping me on the shoulder. I pulled my headphones off. Third time, I felt talk to him in my heart. See, sometimes we don't hear what's going on because we never sit long enough in the silence. We're too busy to take time out. So I want to thank you for taking time out, because you didn't have to invest tonight to be here. And I was sitting in enough silence and taking enough time that I heard him tap me on my shoulder. And we talked for about an hour, and I have to be honest with you, I was so excited because I thought, this guy is smart, he's kind, he's interesting, he's well-traveled, he's been all around the world. I see he's not married. I'm going to set him up with one of my single girlfriends. I thought for sure that's why he had tapped me on the shoulder, as there was some great plan going on. And he told me later, he said, you know, when I saw those faith-based books in my lap, I set you up for you to ask me one question, and sure enough, I asked. I said, so tell me, what do you do for a living? And he said, I own the second largest pornography company in the world. Now, we typically don't want to do anything or know about these things because we think we're not going to know what to do with the information. But this is what I know. If you are in a position to get the information, you're going to be equipped to do something. I don't know what it's going to be, but you're going to be equipped. And immediately, the words were on my mouth, And he said, Kathrine, later, he told me, I couldn't wait to shock you. He basically manipulated me to like him, just like that happens, so that he could shock me because he saw those faith-based books in my life, and he said, I couldn't wait to see the judgment, disgust, disdain, and the shock on your face. But instead, you met me with curiosity and grace, and I didn't know what to do with you. And we began to talk, and I said, really? How in the world do you get into that? And I don't know what took over. I swear, it's like spiritual amnesia. Something bigger than you takes over. I had it happen only one other time in my life, and that was when I happened to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and we were airing live. And I said to my husband later, what did I say? I don't remember a thing I said. And because it was airing live, I had to watch it that night to see what I said. And I thought, wow, that was pretty good. It was pretty smart. The problem was I couldn't take any credit for it because I didn't remember even saying it. Well, the same thing happened here. I just kept talking to him, and he kept sharing. And I finally said to him, so how do you get the girls? And he said, oh, it's easy. We just send scouts out to malls and high schools. We tell girls, go to the mall and help her. Go, oh, that looks so cute on you. No, you should try this scarf. No, put on that hat. Oh, you're adorable. You should really model. Let's go take some pictures. And maybe that's first just some regular modeling pictures, but you can understand the progression that happens. And then that kid is ashamed and doesn't want to tell their parents. And this is what happens. And then he said with the boys in high schools, it's easy. We just tell the boys, go look for girls with daddy issues. He was especially proud of the rich fathers whose daughters were now doing this, and the shame that that brought. And we got to talking, and he told me about his life and his marriage, and I said, does it ever bother you? I mean, I'm just curious here. I'm not talking, I hear you've justified what you're doing, but I'm talking in the middle of the night. Does it ever bother you? And he just looked out the window. See, I told him that I believe every man has a hero's heart in him that was designed to protect women. And he was going counter to his design of being a hero. And then we continued to talk, and he told me about that daughter and his divorce, and I said, where does she live? And he told me, and I said, oh no, so she has daddy issues. And I mean, you should have seen the look on his face. It was like he had never considered his own daughter could be a target, and that these girls were someone's daughter. And again, he looked out the window for a long time. When we were done, he said to me, Kathrine Lee, I want to tell you two things. Number one, I don't think I'm ever going to sleep quite the same again. And I said, oh, good. And we laughed. We laughed together. And then he said, can I get your card? Because I think someday my girls may need you. And at that moment, my heart broke wide open, and the seed was planted for this legacy. So I have to be honest with you, I didn't jump right on it. It was 2 years of my heart breaking, me researching what is wrong, why is this still happening, how is this possible? I started working with Frontline Ministries because I teach personal development and how to communicate and have boundaries and set goals and live the way that we want to be able to live. And so I started working with these Frontline Ministries to help them in business strategy and relationship strategy. And then I started seeing how exhausted those frontline workers were and the horrific stories and the things they were seeing, and they could never take a day off because there wasn't anybody to cover for them. So it was one thing after another in this 2 years, and then I went to my husband and said, I have this vision of this ranch. And I have to be honest with you, this has only happened one other time in my life where I felt like I had a vision of my future or a vision of something, and it was when I thought that I'd be on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And you have to understand, I have zero desire to be famous, but I do want to have influence. And so I ended up on the Oprah Show, so I believe that that happened, so that when this happened, I would actually know that it could come true. And I went to my husband and I said, I think this is what we're supposed to do with our future. I think this is what we're supposed to do. And he said, I'm in. See, my husband's a hero. He said, whatever it takes. And in February, we put our house on the market as a step of faith. This was my dream home in Southern California. I told everybody, I'm going to lay there when I'm 95 years old on that pillow and look at that willow tree. But sometimes you have to sacrifice in order to do something bigger than you. And we were willing to do that. And I asked him, what's your dream? I have never asked you what your dream for this ranch would be. And he said, it would be over 1,000 acres. And I said, what? And he goes, what? Why did I even say that? I don't know. He said, you know, he's from Texas. He used to have acreage, but he knows how much 1,000 acres is. And he said, honey, I have no idea. That's a lot of work. I get it, but that's just what came to mind when you asked me what my dream was for it. So we go on with our life, and we're going and looking for property. Colorado and Texas were the two places. I have to be honest, I wanted Colorado. He wanted Texas. I believe with everything in me, we're going to have both. But the first place that showed up for us was Texas, but it didn't show up right away. We went and looked everywhere, and you know, we couldn't find anything. We came back home, and then a friend came over who is, Donna Finzel is here, she's one of our founding board members, and her friend came over and said, why is your house for sale? Because see, everybody knew I was going to be 95 years old in that house on that pillow looking at that willow tree. And she was like, what's going on? And I shared with her, and she said, I have the perfect place. And I said, really? She said, it's in Texas. And my husband was like, what? Being in Texas, you know? And long story short is, it was way, way, way more money than we could do on our own. And we've been blessed, but we haven't been that blessed. But the owners wanted to talk to us. And so we drove out and went to meet with them. And when we stepped onto the property, we hadn't even seen one building. We hadn't seen anything. But we both looked at each other and we just had tears in our eyes. And then we found out it was 1,016 acres. And a series of things started happening, and I'll just fast forward in the story that the owners got an offer to be able to sell the house. They had a man that was actually interested in possibly buying it for his own personal consumption, just for that reason. And instead, they have chosen to walk in faith with us in this ministry, because 2 years prior, right at the time that this ranch was a vision in my heart, they felt that there was something more for that land than what they were doing with it. And they got this radical interest in human trafficking, and they never put the two together, that it could be the same thing, until we showed up on their property. And they just said, we're going to walk in faith with you. You can buy small chunks at a time. We'll walk in faith and see what we can do together, because we believe this is supposed to happen. But I want to just close with one story, because that sounds like a fairy tale. And it is. I believe it's time to believe in miracles again. And I have seen one miracle after another happen in this process, because I believe when it's time for something to happen, everything aligns for it to happen. But it doesn't mean we always get it. And I have to admit, I wish I could stand up here and go, I have been a hero the whole time. I have been 100% in the whole time. No, I have a 10-year-old daughter. This is ugly business. You know, I feel overwhelmed by this cause and what it's going to take to pull it off. And so at one point in the journey, I'm just being honest with you, I said to my husband, forget it. This is bigger than me. Take the house off the market. I'm serious. I had a total breakdown. And he is such a good man, you know, that hero's heart. And he just said to me, you know what? It is a big thing. It is a big thing, but why don't you ask for some sort of confirmation before we do that? And so I did. I literally humbly went. I thought of a guy named Gideon. Historically, there was this guy named Gideon who was called to do something bigger than him. And he said, you know, if this is you, I'm going to put out a thing called a fleece, a piece of material, and if it's wet and the ground is dry, I'm going to believe it's you. And sure enough, it happened. And he went, oh, wait a second. That was a little bit too easy. So he double tested, and he put out another one. And he said, let it be dry and the ground be wet, the opposite, and I'll believe it's you. And sure enough, and his crisis of belief and fear wall fell down, and he did what he was called to do. So I went like this. This is my Gideon time. I'm going to ask for a fleece. And I was on a speaking tour at the time, and we pulled into the next town, and I was sharing about how to make a living, create a lifestyle, and leave a legacy. That was what my talk was about. It had nothing to do with the ranch, except that I shared how I did that when I was making $500 a month in my 20s, and how now, 20 years later, I'm doing it, and this is the end legacy for right now, where we are. So I would share the idea of this ranch, this second stage home, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, but basically those frontline ministries rescue girls, stabilize them, but then 80% of them that are rescued go back because they don't have time to heal, and they don't have the therapies and enough time of caring to retrain their brain, much less grab their hearts away from this. And so we're building that second stage home, but funding the frontline ministries. That's what our foundation is doing while reviving the workers. That's our vision. so that the workers can have the energy to keep doing what they're doing, and they'll also have more money to rescue more and hire more workers, and then we're going to bring the girls to completely restore them. And so here I am telling that just brief story about legacy, and then I go on. I mean, literally probably 2 minutes out of an entire hour talk, and these 4 girls, like many of our audiences, you know, kind of tears and passing notes. We saw that in every audience, and after it was done, these girls asked me to come up and talk to them, and I did, and I walked up and I said, you know, yes, and they said, we are so sorry, that was so rude to be talking and passing notes while you were talking, but you just need to know why. And I said, why? And they said, we are all victims of human trafficking. We got a day pass to come hear you today. The person that put on the event had no idea what I was going to be talking about. And they said in 2 months, we have nowhere to live. But we know now we're going to be okay. I know your ranch won't be built, but we believe there'll be a place for us and we're going to be okay. If that isn't a fleece, I don't know what is. I was blown away. In fact, I call them my front row fleece girls, and they know it. And they're actually in a movie coming out, if you happen to see anything about it, called In Plain Sight. Their stories are highlighted on that film. And I'll just briefly tell you that 2 days later, I walked onto a ranch that was a friend of mine, and a girl walked up to me, and I said, so how do you know Rusty and Joe, the people that own the ranch? And she said, well, I know there's some, but I'm a survivor of human trafficking. After 60 seconds of meeting her, that was fleece too. I couldn't believe it. So I said to my husband, until my last day and my last dime, we are doing this thing. But here's the thing that broke my heart, and I hope it breaks yours too, is those girls that were in the front row, you know what they said to me? Art was not what happened to us every day. The sad thing is they almost get used to it. They're so numbed out with all the things that happened to them. As horrific as it was, you know what they said the worst part is? They said, Kathrine, we thought nobody cared. And we can't believe you care. See, and that's why I'm here tonight, because I hope I can compel you to care. And I just want to share with you what we're doing. This ranch, like I said, is much bigger vision, but it leaves all the room to expand and do everything we want to do. And what's incredible is these girls, and it's a series of just miraculous things that happened that created a campaign that we're calling 1,000 Welcomes. And what that means is when they come home, there's going to be a gate. And on the gate, it's going to say 1,000 welcomes. And when they open that gate and they're walking home, there's going to be papers of every person, family, company that gave $1,000 to bring them home. It costs about $1 million to buy the land, build the home, have the house mother paid, buy all the furniture, buy their clothes, pay for the therapies, pay for the food. I mean, I could go on. And any of you that want that information, we are happy to open our books to you and show you exactly how the money is going to be invested. But here's what I know. I believe all of you in this room tonight know someone that will give 1,000, whether it's you or someone else, or you, maybe for yourself, you'll get 10 people to do 100, and together you'll get a paper. But I also know that there are people in this room, or you know someone, that can give 1,000 thousands. Somebody that could be the founder donor for this. The person that gets the naming rights to the home or whatever it is. We know that there are people that are connectors, there are people that are givers, and there are people that are prayers. And we want whatever you're willing to do on behalf of these girls. You know, it's interesting, coming into tonight, I was given all this advice of how to manipulate you in fundraising. I'm serious. I had people calling me saying, this is what you say, this is how you do it, this is how you do it, you do this first and then you do that first, and you make it all shiny, and you know that we bribe you basically with all sorts of gifts you're going to get if you give. And I just said, I can't do that. I have to be authentic and just tell my story and tell these girls' stories and then let people respond. So they have some cards that they're going to pass out with our 1,000 Welcomes campaigns to be able to say, what are you willing to do? And maybe you'll take 2. Maybe you know someone that you want to tell this story to. And I don't know if our video, Becca, did the other video get put in? We haven't done that yet. Okay, so I will, in just a moment, we'll put in just a 2-minute video that summarizes what Pure Hope Foundation is. And what you're going to see the difference is that this is the statistics. But when we made our video, we didn't give statistics. Now the stats will be on our website, but we didn't make statistics. You know why? Because those girls are not a statistic. They are not a number. That's all they've ever been, is a number. How much money can they bring in? And I refuse to make them a statistic. This is personal. And when you have looked a girl in the eyes that has been traumatized like this, you can't make them a number either. You just can't do it. So Pure Hope Foundation is about humanizing who are these girls and telling their stories, but allowing them not to be taken out of slavery and put in wilderness, because that's kind of what happens. But we want to take them out of slavery into abundance. We want to give them the same opportunities that these girls have. And to completely restore their innocence. That's why we have these girls wear white, because I believe in miracles again, and I believe that that can happen. So if we'll just take kind of a moment of silence, I want you to be able to consider this while we change out and get the video ready. But I would like for you to just all sit quiet, because you know, it was that silence on that airplane. Because I was trying not to talk to anybody, it was the silence that I knew and got compelled to what my part was, at least the seed of it. And so I'm just going to ask you, while we switch out the DVD, to consider that. What is your role? Maybe you'll connect us to somebody, maybe you'll pray, maybe you'll just go out and raise awareness. We have a company that my friend Reagan is just here, representing a company that's based in Charlotte. She got in touch with this gal, had her ship her bracelets today. Any of you that have the bracelets on, you want to lift them up on your wrist? So these bracelets, $8 of every single one of those bracelets goes to the Pure Hope Foundation. But here's the bigger thing. What we're seeing is that when a woman is wearing that bracelet, somebody compliments it, says, "I love your bracelet," and that woman becomes a voice for the voiceless. She says, "Oh, this is for Pure Hope Foundation," or "This is for rescuing girls," and that is raising awareness. Whoever would have thought fashion, something that was that darn cute, and when you see it, you'll see how cute they are, would be the funnel of that. So, oh, that's okay. Let me just rewind it. So that's the beauty of this, is us being able to really create some fun with all this too. We know that's part of how these girls are going to heal, is beauty and fun and the right people loving on them. And that's what this ranch can do. So I'll talk to you guys. This is the floor plan of one of our houses. We had a builder in Texas donate the renderings for tonight, but it will show you the floor plans. We want 2 homes. Just to begin, we want 2 homes with 6 girls each. The girls will come from all over the United States, because 80%, if you haven't seen the stats, or remember, 80% of the girls are from America. We think this is a third world problem, but it's not. The girls here are from here. So we want to rescue 12, and they'll come from organizations all over the United States. We're already in contact with several of them that have girls that are ready to come home. They're in programs right now where they've been rescued and they're being stabilized, but they want to come for this year. And we have colleges that are setting up scholarships and on-site learning. We have vocational programs. We have a woman that's teaching how to bake bread. We have people that want to come teach the girls how to style hair. They will have living wage jobs, financial literacy. They will be able to do all sorts of things, all the way to getting their GED or college education. And that is what we will do with them within that year. So we just want to show you real quick what Pure Hope Foundation is. If I can get this, I normally don't do the AV.
Can I not tell you something? I want to not tell you how many girls are caught in the jaws of sexting statistics about issues in the world. And just to give you an out-of-context statistic, a mere number, when this is about human beings, wouldn't do it justice. The stats are so immense, it's impossible to wrap your mind around them. And even if you did, you'd probably think, that's staggering. It's impossible to tackle that kind of issue. You might as well try and stop the wind.
We know because we felt that way once. We thought, I don't know these girls' names, I don't know where they are, and I don't know how to fix it all. But today, what I do know is that just like the wind, while I don't see this issue with my own eyes, I cannot deny that it exists. Therefore, I must do something.
And that's how the Pure Hope Foundation was born.
Our heartbeat is to rescue, revive, and restore.
We rescue by providing funding for the organizations on the ground pulling women out of the sex trade industry. We revive by holding retreats to equip and restore the energy of the individuals who dedicate their lives to be hands-on rescuers. And we restore through a year-long program that provides emotional, spiritual, and relational healing to women who have been set free and need next steps.
You too can do something.
You can be a part of the rescue
Join in the revival.
and help restore these women to the abundant life they were designed to live.
So that's pure hope. That's what that one conversation on the plane has led to today. So I'm here as you guys consider what part is yours. I know some of you immediately tonight will know, some of you are going to consider, some of you are going to connect with us. But I hope that you will do something, that this night will change your life like it changed mine on the plane. I'm not expecting you all to sell your homes or buy a ranch or give your life's work to it, but I am asking you to partner with me or somebody else that is doing this work. So I'm honored that you took the time. This is what I know, but for all of you, you rearranged your life to be here tonight. All of you did. Time is the one commodity. Some of you have more money to give tonight, and you have more money in the bank than others, but time is the great equalizer. We all have 24 hours in the day. And I always say in my personal development, there is no such thing as time management. Have you ever heard that term, time management? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, you cannot manage time. But it's choice management. And you chose to be here tonight, and I thank you for that. Thank you.